default position when your kids go to test. The default position is that the bed is in low position, not lowest, but low. That the side rails are down, the head is down, the wheels are locked, and the call bell is out of reach. And here's my sheriff's call bell in here, okay? So, if I know that that's going to be the default position for them at testing, then that's the way I want them to test. No covers, no extra cover, no underpad, none of that extra stuff. Just bare bones. Because if they know how to handle a top sheet and a bottom sheet, they know how to handle everything else they got to do. So, alright, so with that said, let your students know, and it's in the blue, it's in the green book, that the candidate is an easy, not the candidate, but the client, the patient is an easy client. They have no dementia, no Alzheimer's, there's no behavior problem, none of that crazy mess. They're just a little bit weak and need a little help from their friends. So they're an easy patient, the kind of patient that does not require a side rail. So they don't need to kill themselves pulling that side rail up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. Now I know that you've taught them, you have put the fear of God in them, that if they walk away a half an inch from that bed, you will shoot them on sight if that rail's not up, if it's supposed to be. That's because you teach up here, and that's where you need to be teaching. But for this test, you don't have that kind of patient. It's an easy patient. So they don't need to waste time on the side rails. There's only one skill, and that is turning and positioning on the side. That's the only one they got to use a side rail for. So go ahead and tell them that, so they don't waste your time. Okay. Now we're going to have to pretend that, you know I hate pretending stuff, y'all. You know how I am. But we're going to have to pretend this curtain today, because if I pull this curtain, y'all can't see this. I even thought about the idea of if you had enough lab space in your room, that you could have one curtain that's made out of a clear shower curtain, so you could still pull it and you could see through it. You know, it's just a thought. You know, depending on how difficult your curtains are to remove or change or whatever. So that right before testing, they're not simulating that curtain, that they're really doing it. But I want you to be able to see. So, this is my second skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me say a few words about the second one. And I may have already said this to some of you, you may not have heard it, but let's pull it back up on the hard drive. The second skill is typically the measurement skill. It's going to be blood pressure, pulse, respiration. If they get urinary output, that's usually going to be toward the end of the set of 5. But the measurement skills come second. I'm just taking them in the order of the book for today's purpose. I've also found out that that second skill position is when they're at their most nervous. They're most anxious at that second skill. At the sink, they're facing the wall. When they come to the bed, they're facing their client for the first time, and they have full view of the evaluator. So it's like the evaluator and the client just kind of pop up out of nowhere. It's like, you know, and they get scared. So, you want to teach them to set themselves up for success with every skill that they do. And one thing I would suggest is that if they're going to leave the bed in the same position, which is what I would do, tell them to pull up a chair if they're going to do pulse or respiration. That way, they can concentrate. Now, I know we're going to do tests. I was just talking about the second position in the test thing. That way, their body, they don't have to worry about bending over or feeling tense or whatever. They can relax in that chair, and then they have a better chance of getting that pulse right. And we'll talk more about that when we get to pulse. But I just wanted to mention that that second position, that second skill, I've just noticed that the younger they are, the more difficult they have. Because now once they get to that third one, if they know what they're doing, it's like, hey, I got this, bam, it's right on through. Okay, so just be aware of that second one. Another way you can set yourself up for success is even on the hand wash, and I know this is repetitive for some of you, even on the hand wash, let it happen like this. Morning, Miss Beth, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
My name is Agnes. I'm going to be your aide today. I've got to do a few things. I'm gonna go ahead and wash my hands, and I'm gonna be back. But before I leave, I want you to have this call bell. I want you, as far as I can get it to you right here. Thank you. Okay. I want you to have that call bell. Okay? Okay? Alright, and I'll be back with you in a minute. And we did the hand washing thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way it reads, look at the first step, the very first step on your hand washing. What does it say? Right. Introduces yourself by name, client by name, you know, introduces by name. Now, you don't have to introduce by name anymore. You have to explain every single time, but you don't have to introduce every single time. However, if you want to be consistent with it so they don't have to remember it one way, just tell them every time you come to the patient, hello, my name is, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. That's up to you. I'm just saying, as much as you can, make their approach to that bed uniform and predictable. Now, when I wash my hands, I introduced myself, right? All right, look over at go look at pulse or respiration. And tell me what the first step is. Explains procedure. Okay, speaking clearly, face-to-face deal. Now, I can tell you what's in the evaluator's big book. The exact same that's there, but there's an evaluator note that says, if the candidate, the person doing the skills, does not introduce themselves on the first skill, which is hand washing, they must do it on the second one. So if they don't do it on the first one, they must do it on the second one. So it's like they've got a little buffer there. If you forget to do it before you wash your hands, you can do it before you do that second skill. That's not written in there. That's a note that the evaluator has to go by. So I've gotten that name over with when I wash my hands. I've gotten that call bill over with when I wash my hands. So that's two things I don't have to worry about when I get into that second skill. Okay, we'll talk more about pulse and respiration in a little bit. But right now we're going to put a head stocking on. Oh, excuse me. Good morning, Miss Beth. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
All righty now. You got a little something going on in that leg, and your doctor wants you to have a stocking. Is that all right with you?
That's fine.
I'm gonna go get the stuff, and I'll be back. We'll
Okay.
get you squared away. All right, and I will pull my curtain, but I'm not going to because y'all won't be able to see. The thing about stockings, in case you're not familiar, if you have plenty stockings, the students can put it on a real patient. If you have a good mannequin and you have limited supply of stockings, the evaluator is going to ask that you put it on the mannequin. So there's a little variables there, but I wanted you to understand why the variables. Some of the mannequins, they look like monster men, you know, with the screws sticking out, and they're hard to do. They're hard to work with. And then some of them are really nice, and the screws are flush, you know, with their foot, but not. It just depends. Let's see what kind of foot they got over there. That's a good foot over there.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
That's a good foot over there.
Yeah.
The screws aren't sticking out like monster men, and they can do that. So it may be, if that's the testing situation they have, and there's only one stocking, I can guarantee you it's going on that mannequin for infection control purposes. If there's plenty of stockings, then they can put it on the patient if they'd rather do that. Make sense? Okay. All right, I'm back. We'll put this stocking on. Okay? Okay. All right now. And we're just going to expose that leg. Pull that leg up. Yes, so we need a close-up of that leg right there, Sharon. And if any of you are still having trouble with this head stocking, you let me know, and we'll work on that, you know, when we get past these other skills here. But I like to fold it back so that you only have 2 layers. And in your curriculum skill sheet, I think I've got pictures in there. I hope y'all can see them. I know that my heel is right there, so I'm just kind of keeping a visual on it. No wrinkles. So I can put all my fingers in there, and I can stretch it out really wide because I don't have any wrinkles in there. I'm just going to slide it on that foot. I got the heel already. I think I do. And we're going to push down into the bed instead of pushing against her skin. I'm going to check my heel box before I go any further, be sure it's where I want it, and it is. And then I'm just gonna seesaw it on up so I'm not dragging on Beth's skin, hopefully, any more than I have to. Now, just as a reminder, you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
All right. Just as a reminder, proper position, heel box on the heel. Y'all have heard me say that. You know that. When they go for testing, if there's excess space up here, that's fine. It's fine. When they're working in the real world, they're going to be custom fitted to that patient. But in a test situation, you don't know what size is going to be on that table. So if they have a small foot and a big stocking, if this is hanging off, no problem. That doesn't matter. As long as the heel box is on the heel. Let's say she had a big foot. She got a size 14, 15 man's foot. And she's got the heel box on the heel, and this is smooth, and her toes are sticking out. That's okay too. Because the test takes into consideration that the size of the stocking and the size of the client may not match. We good? Okay. So we've got our stocking on, got her covered up. You got your call bell, girl. Oh, that's your sock. Okay. I'm gonna undo her curtain. I'm gonna wash my hands.